All right. And here we are. Yep, my little hair sticking out. Good evening, everyone. We're back on this again. Yeah, back to the phone. I haven't had a chance to test out the new idea I have. But yeah, we'll give people a few minutes to jump on like usual before we start our normal housekeeping. All right. Let's go into here. There we go. There we go. Oops, slow connection. All right. Dog, stop biting yourself. Alrighty then. Let's get started, shall we? Okay. This program is for educational, informational, and journalistic purposes only. All statements made during this broadcast are based on publicly available laws, regulations, policies, and documented personal experiences, and reflect a good faith interpretation of federal whistleblower law, merit systems principles, and USPS policy as they exist at the time of the recording. This show does not provide legal advice, does not substitute for counsel, and does not assert criminal liability against any individual. References to the United States Postal Service, its policies, or its management are made solely in the context of policy analysis, federal compliance, and public accountability, which are protected forms of speech under U.S. law. Any discussion of whistleblower activity, retaliation, MSPB processes, or ELM provisions is intended to educate employees and the public on their rights and obligations under federal law. Retaliation, intimidation, surveillance, or misuse of this content against any whistleblower or viewer is strictly prohibited and may itself constitute a violation of federal law. This broadcast may reference facts, policies, or sources available at the time of recording, which may later be altered, removed, or reinterpreted by institutions. All content is preserved for transparency and documentation. By continuing to watch, you acknowledge this program is lawful, is a lawful exercise of free speech and whistleblower education, and that no part of this broadcast may be used to justly or justify retaliation or further violations of federal or state law. Okay, with that being said, housekeeping rules are done. Yeah, it's a little long now. I gotta find the passion to cut it again. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angel, and I am the host of the Postal Truth. I am a manager of customer service in Miami West Carrier Annex in Miami, Florida, who has been on administrative sick leave due to ongoing systemic retaliatory issues and claims against myself and my employer, the United States Postal Service, all of which are in litigation right now with the Merit Systems Protection Board, the National Labor Relations Board, and as well as the Department of Labor, U.S. Department of Labor. With that being said, I felt that tonight's topic was important, especially after the day I had. I felt there was time to dive deeper. So today's topic is basically going to be how the ELM maps directly to federal whistleblower law. Yes, we're going to talk about the employee ELM and how it goes together with whistleblower law. Okay. The ELM does not create whistleblower rights. Well, we know that already. It's just a standard set of rules, right? It enforces them, allegedly. When USPS violates the ELM, it is often violating federal law. This is a given. I cannot speak for anybody else, but I can only speak for myself. And I documented alleged violations of federal law committed by the institution, all of which are all allegations until proven otherwise in a court of law, which I'm hoping to hear back soon from the MSPB and regarding jurisdiction. With that being said, it's important to know the difference between, and we've talked about this ad nauseum at this point, but commentary policy versus the actual ELM, what's in the actual ELM. Here's the problem, and you're going to run into this no matter what craft you're in, no matter if you're in as a clerk, carrier, rural carrier, doesn't matter where you are in the totem pole of the agency, but it affects you the same way as it would affect any other person, including an EAS such as myself. And again, even EASs have their own levels and tiers and whatnot, and we still go through the same things you guys do because the system is not segregated by craft or position. It's all universal. And it's almost like if I have to give it a simple term, I would say it's more like a vortex, okay. I don't know if any of you guys did this, but when I was a kid, when I was going to elementary school, they had us do the tornado thing inside 2 plastic soda bottles. And we had to put water on one side and tape the middles together. And then we had to turn it around and spin it real fast so you could see the water whirlwind down the little hole. And bless you, my son sneezed. You see the water dripping down the little hole into the next bottle, right? And you see it vortexing in. Well, that's kind of like what this is in a sense, because even though you have all the crafts up top, right? And then as things funnel down, they don't funnel up, they funnel down. So as they funnel down, they compress like this into one law or several laws. And then from there, it kind of drains down more, down, pushing down into everyone under them. Okay, well, that's kind of what this is. So to give people a better idea of how these relate and how the ELM, which again is widely overlooked. I mean, because again, we're used to hearing commentary policies versus actual documentation. And this is a given no matter what craft you're in. You can be in management, you can be the custodian, you can be a mail handler, you can be a PTF, window clerk. It all funnels the same way. You have the different classifications and then it kind of funnels into just whistleblower and then etc. Okay. It doesn't go upward like a corporate ladder. It actually funnels down from the corporate ladder down. So you figure the law, then the corporation, and then from there it funnels straight down. Okay. So we're going to open up tonight with merit system principles. Okay. So ELM 665.3 is merit system principles. It basically says, in English, personal actions must be fair and equitable. Okay. Employees must be protected from arbitrary action. Employees must be protected from reprisal. Okay. So with that being said, the policy always quotes, paraphrases, abbreviates these things in the ELM. They write it in the ELM. It's in the ELM. They're not supposed to, it has to be protected from arbitrary action. It's supposed to be fair and equitable, okay? And employees must be protected from reprisal. The problem is, as I've explained, a few times in the beginning of this, it funnels down this way, okay? And I apologize, my son has a cold. So if you hear the sneezing in the background, he's okay, he just has a cold, okay? Everything funnels down into that bottle like I was telling you. So it's the same thing with this, like I was just telling you. They're not supposed to do it, but they do it anyway. I'm thinking eventually I'm going to, on the Postal Truth website, get a terms and definitions page going. I'm behind on all my work because I've been writing like crazy, trying to work off some of the frustrations that I have with all the waiting. I know I was supposed to put some stuff on the website a couple of days ago, and I'm gonna be honest, I did not do it, and I apologize for that. I gotta get my secretary, Jesse, to remind me of certain things sometimes, because including taking my medicine, because I'm just like overwhelmed right now at this point with everything going on in my life. But that's the reprisal part that they're not supposed to do. You understand? And this is what I mean. They know that retaliation and stopping you and blocking you and intentionally delaying outcomes or paperwork so that the process can keep moving. They know this and they intentionally stall. I've said this a couple times on the show, but I've even heard my own manager say to my partner in front of me that he knows he's going to lose the cases with workers' comp and with other things, but he don't give a shit. He doesn't care. Okay. And he's just going to wait anyway. Well, that's reprisal. That's a delay. You understand? It's not fair and equitable. It's a delay. Okay. But then they want to slam all these arbitrary actions against you. And it's a thing, an ongoing thing, So keep that in mind. Federal law anchor. So it's 5 USC subsection 2301 merit system principles. Now again, that's not the ELM, that's the law. So now you have a law anchored to that policy. You understand? So we've talked about this, how they go together and they all funnel into one. Okay. So again, corporation, law, corporation, then everyone else kind of just bottles it. Okay. Why does this matter? Any action taken because someone spoke up already violates merit principles before retaliation is even proven. So the law is very specific. There is no gray area. There's no black and white. There is. Let me rephrase that. It's black and white, but there's no gray. Okay. So the gray is the upright middle thing. It's either yes or it's no. There's no in between. You understand? And when management performs the acts of reprisal, a clear example of reprisal, look at all the grievance money we paid out this past year. And the OIG did this investigation on the USPS, and we spent a fortune on grievance money. Now, why do we spend a fortune on grievance money? Because managers know they should know the policy, but a lot of managers, you can't hold it against them. Okay. And I'm going to explain why. I already know I'm going to have guys wigging out on it. What you mean it's not their fault? Hear me out. Just hear me out. If you don't know, it's your job to learn. If you know and you're doing it wrong anyway, that's a different story. If you don't know and you do something that you don't know, and you tell the person, listen, I didn't know that, you're probably right. Let me check. Because if I don't know, but you know and I don't know, I probably should go read this and make sure. And then fix whatever it is you did. But managers don't do that now. They don't. What they do is they commit the reprisal, then they complain about all the money that they spend. You cannot, again, there is no in between. So if the business, because it's a business, it's not private anymore. It's privatized already. So it's not privatized. It's not public. It's privatized, I should say. So we know this already. That's why they treat it as a business, because it's not privatized. They hide behind the auspices of the privatization of, we're a public postal service and blah, blah, blah. We serve the United States of America and hooray, kumbaya for 250 years. That's great. Here's the problem. Again, and I'm going to cite this video till I turn purple because it's there. And as long as it's there, it's fact. It's citable. So that Postal heist, the great Postal heist movie, again, we've talked about this ad nauseum. They already tell you what corporations own the Postal Service. Verizon, I think AT&T was in there, General Electric, and a few other corporations own the Postal Service. They don't talk about it though, because they give the illusion that it's all public. It's public, it's government. But here's the thing. If it was government, we would be on the GS scale, not the PS scale. We have our own scale. There's like one other agency that does it that way. I think the Department of Energy is on a different scale, but it's almost the same as the GS scale, just slightly different. But they're, from my understanding, they're the only ones. So you have the Postal Service completely on their own scale. The Department of Energy, I believe it is. Don't quote me. Verify what I'm telling you. Check your sources, okay? I think they're the second one though. But other than that, there's no one else. So yeah, there's that. Prohibited personnel actions, the heart of it, okay? ELM 665.15, prohibited personnel actions. What it does, incorporates all federal PPPs into USPS policy, explicitly forbids retaliation tied to personnel action. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of this. And I'm going to use myself. I'm being marked LWAP for months and months and months and months and months and months and months. The agency knows this is incorrect coding, but yet they continue to mark it. They continue to mark it because they messed up in the beginning. And because they messed up in the beginning, they have to lean into it now because they don't have a choice. Because as I wrote earlier, these individuals have God complexes. And because of that, they have to lean into it. They don't have a choice. They buried themselves in too much. Okay? So with that being said, the acts of reprisal, the acts of retaliation now, because it costs me my insurance, my benefits, my pay, my pension, all this stuff, because they chose to do what they did. Now, the federal law that anchors to this, because again, they believe they're above the law, but you're not above the law. And the law that applies to them, again, is 5 USC subsection 23 now, 02. Prohibited personnel practices. Translation, USPS management is on notice by policy that retaliation is illegal. So they know already that this is illegal, but they're still doing it anyway. You understand what I'm saying? So it's something to be mindful about when you are following up on your paperwork and reading all the reports that are coming out, especially that money we spent on grievances is unnecessary. It's totally unnecessary. We should have never spent that much in grievance money. But again, they know it's illegal, but they're doing it anyway. That's why we had paid out all the grievances. So if you're saying, well, yeah, you know, man, these guys are dumb. I mean, look at the payouts. The payouts should answer that question for you. I don't even need to give my opinion. The payouts show the answer to that question, the answer to that statement, the reply, the rebuttal. The payout money we give. I don't even want to know how much Miami gives out. I'm scared to wonder. And you know what? You do it yourself, and these things happen. Anyway, moving on. Whistleblower reprisal. Explicitly named. Yes. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Okay. 665.24 of the ELM. Reprisal for whistleblowing. It's in the ELM. This is the smoking gun section. It prohibits retaliation for disclosures involving violations of law, rule, or regulation, gross mismanagement, gross waste of funds, abuse of authority, and danger to public health or safety. They did all of that except the last one. And not even that last one is creeping up on them now. Because you see on Facebook, trucks are blowing up left and right. Like exploding. Exploding. Boom. So, yeah, there's that. It's in the ELM. They know it's in the ELM. Well, again, if you don't know, I guess claiming ignorance as a manager or postmaster working 20 plus years, you don't have an excuse. At some point in your career, you must have ran into this problem. I don't even want to hear you didn't run into this issue. Oh no, I've never dealt with that. And this son of a bitch came here and no. I don't even want to hear that. You've been employed by the organization more than 10 years. You've traveled to different states and different offices. Then you should know the policy. You should know it. There's no excuse. The fact that you don't know it is just because you don't know what you're doing. That's just my opinion. That's not a fact. Sooner or later, the vice president will get pissed off at you and throw you out. Reassign you. Maybe put you in a little 18 office in the middle of nowhere. Those are fun. Okay. The law that anchors to that, though. So we also have a law that anchors to the ELM. A whistleblower ELM with federal law anchoring to it. 5 USC subsection 2302 B8 to infinity. Bing. The more you know. Whistleblower Protection Act, WPA. Whistleblower Protection Enhancement Act, WPEA. The USPS policy itself admits whistleblower retaliation is illegal. Full stop. So, they know it's illegal. It's in the ELM. They wrote it down. They agree you shouldn't do it. But yet, the individuals across the nation that choose to do this and act this way and conduct themselves in this particular manner, where's the accountability? Where's the justice for those families that are going through this stuff? Like my family. Where's the justice? While they sit in their office and laugh and make fun of you. Because I've heard them do that too before. And I never comment because I don't believe in commenting. I stay quiet and I mind my business. I tell people it's above my pay grade and I don't want to know about it because I don't want to, I didn't care. You understand? I've had people try to tell me that carriers were no good and stay away from the carriers and whatnot. And those were some of my best carriers in Montana. Yep. Some of my best carriers were the ones they told me stay away from. Those are the ones that work. So maybe it's not the carrier. Maybe it's you. Just saying. If you want to sneak out mid-shift and run home, knowing you're a manager, maybe you shouldn't do that anymore. Or you want to get on a plane and go back to Texas mid-shift, maybe you shouldn't do that no more if you're a postmaster. What do I know? This is what I'm talking about. There is no accountability for individuals doing the things that they're doing. But as soon as you fight back, they try to throw the book at you. And this is the reprisal that we were talking about in the beginning of the show. The following orders are not a defense. So we're going to move into what is not a defense at all. Like, period. ELM 665.16 is responsibility and accountability. Okay? So what it establishes is that supervisors are personally responsible. I was told to do it is not protection. I'll repeat that again. Supervisors are personally responsible. That includes postmasters, managers of operations, managers of customer service, supervisors, tour supervisors, carrier supervisors, postmasters in small stations. If you are an EAS and you manage people, you are responsible. It's in the ELM. Okay? I was told to do it. It's not protection. That doesn't protect you. It doesn't abstain you. Okay? Management must comply with law and policy. And the law that anchors to that, again, is 5 U.S.C. subsection 2302 B9. So now you have ELM saying, you can't say my boss told me to do it. I was just following orders. But ELM 665.16 says that doesn't count. You're supposed to know. You're responsible. And then the law that tacks to it is 5 U.S.C. 2302 B9. Long-standing federal case law. Nuremberg principle in civil service. Unlawful orders do not become lawful when repeated. So if you tell yourself, I was just doing what I was told, why doesn't he understand? What would he do in my position? Tell the fucking truth like I did. Tell the truth. Sack up. Do the right thing. That's your job. You know someone's doing something wrong, you fix it. You don't fix it by conducting illegal activity. And this is what the organization keeps doing. This is why we had almost $1 billion of wasted grievance money. Circa. You guys see what I'm saying? It's not so much what they did. It's the trickle effect. So by them not following the policy and breaking the law, it's costing them money. It's costing the Postal Service money. And then the Postal Service is like, oh shit, we're down $1 billion. Well, where are we going to get that money from? Let's raise stamps again. Let's raise packages again. Let's raise this. Let's raise that. Let's keep raising it. You're charging more for unreliable service. It's unreliable because your staff is unreliable. Your staff is unreliable because the management doesn't know how to manage their staff. Period. That's what's the problem. And those select few that do know what they're doing, they're so far and few in between. They're so small and minority. They're not even a majority. They're a minority. This is why you spend almost, what was it, $1 billion almost? I could be off a few pennies. That's an expression. I know it's more than that, but it's an expression. And this is what I mean. We're not going to fix it by telling ourselves, I was just following orders. Bootlicking gets you no brownie points. You violated postal policy and you violated federal law. And this is what I mean. It all goes together. All this stuff I share on Facebook, it all goes together. TikTok, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? It all goes together. Now, this is another part that gets them. And I got some more stuff coming at you now. Silence, delay, and obstruction as retaliation. So we talked about that earlier where I physically heard my boss tell another manager, I know I'm going to lose, but I don't care. Fuck it. I'm going to let him wait anyway. That's an intentional delay. He's lucky I didn't write that down. Because, if I would have remembered the date and the time, if I would have wrote it down, I would have put that shit in my file too. Okay? Because this proves they use silence, delay tactics, and obstruction as retaliation. It proves it. I heard him say it. If only I wrote it down and remembered the date and time, all I can tell you is I heard him say it twice. Once in my station and one in Buena Vista, I believe it was. And again, I'm not too sure because it was a long time ago. You see what I'm saying? This is why documentation is also important, to remind you of those things. So yeah, he'll skate on by with that one because I didn't write it down, but not everything else. You get what I'm saying? They use silence, they use delay tactics, they use obstruction. I'm not the only person that has said this. People have interviewed and said the same thing. Lino Miranda's going through the same thing. People across the nation are going through the same thing. Tino went through the same thing. My guest that I'm hoping to bring on Sunday, my first live guest, hopefully we can get her on. I have to call her. If you're watching this, I did not forget you. I've just been busy. Extremely busy. It's been rough, but trying to get help for my family and stuff like that. So I didn't forget you. I had to prioritize, okay? I will do my best to give you a call or shoot you a text message tomorrow in regards to Sunday. But now it's a combination effect. So now we're talking about stacks like Lego, okay? So you have ELM 66515 and ELM 66524. It's a combination effect now, okay? Retaliation is not limited to firing. Delays, inaction, and silence can qualify. Blocking transfers, happened to me. Ignoring accommodation, happened to me. Requests can be adverse actions. All this stuff happened to me and happened to a lot of us that work for the organization. And this is what I mean. So now you're looking at the law that anchors to that. Because again, with all of this stuff, you have a law. 5 USC subsection 2302, B8 and B9. There's those two again. Excuse me. Soda today. Well, my tea is brewing and steeping. MSPB retaliation, jurisprudence. Doing nothing can still be retaliation if it's done because you spoke up. So in other words, it's like my dad used to say, God rest his soul, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because if you tell the truth, you get in trouble. And if you don't tell the truth, you get into trouble. So what's the point? Why do they have all these laws for if no one's following them? And again, if you want physical proof of that, without any words, any accusations, anything, look at the grievance money. That says it all. The fact that they paid out all that money tells me they keep violating the postal policy and breaking federal law. Because the money they paid out, the OIG, Put it out there because they have to. Something to think about, right, guys? Yeah, it's sad, honestly. Like, I'm just dumbfounded at this point. I shake my head every time I see something. Most of the time, I'm just laughing because it's just like, oh my God, how could you not notice this? What is going on in DC? Reasonable accommodation and retaliation. Now, again, we're going back to whistleblower law. This all ties together. Okay? ELM 546, reasonable accommodation. We spoke about this before. For those of you that don't know or are new to the channel, it requires prompt interactive process. No punishment for requesting accommodation and no delay tactics. Again, something they keep breaking across the nation. And you know one proof of that? Go on your light blue. There's 4 more new EEOC bangs right to the post office. Go in your light blue, log in, scroll down till you get to EEOC postings or filings, and it's right there. Download them all. They're back. What does that tell you? Violations of the Rehabilitation Act, violation of Title VII, violation of what do you call that? 665, whatever. There's so many rules there. They're like in the 20s already. 20 plus violations, and they just keep stacking them. And I'm just one person. Imagine everyone else they're doing this to. At what point do you say enough is enough? So the federal law is Rehabilitation Act of 1973, ADA standards. They apply to federal service. Ignoring or delay accommodation after protected activity can be retaliation and discrimination. Yes, it can. The Postal Service gets away with that because they claim they're not, well, we're quasi-government. We're government, but we're not government. In other words, you're hiding behind the government shield, but you're privatized and you know you're privatized. That's worse than Royal Mail. At least Royal Mail, they tell you straight out they're privatized. They don't, they're called Royal Mail because that's what they were. And they answer to the king, yes, but they're still Royal Mail. But it's privatized. There's no difference here. Anyway, safety and public harm disclosures. Again, ELM 651 and 652, safety and health. What they require: reporting safety hazards, protection from reprisal, corrective action. So if you're supposed to be on administrative leave and they bring you in for an investigative interview, are you coming back off of administrative leave before the investigative interview or after? Because that makes a difference. If they bring you in for an investigative interview and they give you back your badge after the interview, then that means they violated the policy. They're supposed to hand you your badge first. Now you're officially back in service again, and then conduct the interview. Not do what they did to me, conduct the interview, and then when the interview's done, give me back a badge. Here, that's yours. After you broke the policy again. See, words are important. Actions are important. And 5 USC subsection 2302 B8, again, OSHA-related whistleblower protections now apply. That's a subsection in there for OSHA whistleblower protections. So if all the accidents we had at the plants a couple weeks back where we lost some Postal family, people wanted to speak out about it, and I was hearing weird stuff online, reading weird stuff online that they were retaliated against these people. That's reprisal. You're not supposed to do it. But since there's no oversight, that's the problem. Maybe they need Doge to come in and just like handle you all, because y'all don't know what you're doing. If you're blowing $1 billion in grievance money, you obviously don't know what you're doing. But what do I know? I'm a guy just sitting at home right now with no pay because of the same crap you're doing to the carriers, you're doing it to me. Anyway, maybe I'll get a chunk of that eventually. Who enforces this when USPS fails? This is where we all tie everything together. We have the Merit Systems Protection Board. They review adverse actions and retaliation. We have the Office of Special Counsel. They investigate whistleblower appraisal. We have EEO Federal Court or EEOC when retaliation overlaps with discrimination. We have Inspector General investigations for what it's worth when abuse of authority or fraud is involved. And the truth to this all, ELM violations become evidence in federal cases. Okay. Now, let's take a couple steps back. We're going to go over this list again. So, Merit Systems Protection Board reviews adverse actions and retaliation. Yes, they do. Mostly they're after the fact, and before you even get to them, you have to contact the next people on the list I just read you, which is the Office of Special Counsel. So if you're intending to go to the Merit Systems Protection Board, you have to contact the Office of Special Counsel because they have to conduct an investigation first regarding the allegations before the Merit Systems Protection Board even gets involved. You also have to contact OSHA and the Department of Labor. So keep that in mind. Those are all the agencies you got to contact before you even get to MSPB. So if you know your case is like, yeah, they're doing this and you know they're doing this and you have your documentation. Again, this isn't legal advice. This is just what I went through and what I had to do. Okay, so I'm talking about myself and the process and the steps that I had to take. I had to go through the Office of Special Counsel. I had to contact the Department of Labor, and I had to contact the OSHA. I had to contact the OSHA as well. Okay, and I had to get responses and case numbers from those people. Okay, so even if you don't get a response, but you get a case number where they're actually investigating, you need that information before you contact the Office of Special Counsel. Okay, the Merit Systems Protection Board. And it all goes in steps. So you have OSHA, then you have Department of Labor, or you can do them backwards. It's fine. And then you have, after that, you have the Office of Special Counsel. Now, if in between all of this, you have a CA2 like me, that's pending, you still want to contact the Department of Justice, ADA division, because they need to give you a reference to the next agency, which again is going to take you back into EEOC, because that's where they send you. Okay. And then from there, you take all those case numbers and all that paperwork and all those letters that they give you, and you give them to Merit Systems Protection Board. When you fill out the paperwork online, I recommend it. This is the fastest way. Don't go in person. Just let them do it online. The answer is going to be the same, whether you're standing in front of them or in your house. Just do it online. It's faster. Okay. You could upload all your stuff right there. You know what I mean? And it's just more convenient. Trust me. Okay. At least it was for me. Okay. Now, after you get through Merit Systems Protection Board, right? Then you have two avenues you can go. It all depends on your case and what you're going through, but you have the National Labor Relations Board. If you are a craft employee, exception to the rule is EAS or manager with active whistleblower filings. They don't tell you this. They try to say, oh no, you don't qualify for the the WAPA, the WPA, no, that's not true. As long as you have official whistleblower filings, you're good. You file through OSC. You have to file through them anyway. OSC, the Oversight Committee, you fill out the blow the whistle form. They give you a tracking number, or what is it, a document file number, and you take that and you give it to the next people. And that's basically what you do with this, is that you take one number, you hand it off. Take the next number, hand it off. Take the next number. It's a chain. And this is what I mean. It doesn't end. It's meant to keep going. When the organization slows down, though, and they perform reprisal acts, again, breaking the law, because we went over it, and breaking postal policy, it stonewalls the process, especially when they know they have nothing. Like, instead of just saying, I messed up, I got nothing. Check it off, send it in. They leave it on their desk and look at it every day and laugh and put it back down. Pick it up again, laugh every day and put it back down. Pick it up 2 months later, laugh and put it back down. Then when the clock gets closer to deadline, now they're scrambling to try to make stuff up on paper so they can take that paper and send it. Instead of just saying they didn't have nothing, just put the little check mark, send it in. That's what I mean by reprisal. It's a system made to block you from that system and another system. And that's the vortex I talked about in the very beginning, where everything kind of funnels in to that little whirlwind, into that little hole from your little bottles that you're shaking, and the water's going in, and that's you going down the toilet with it. Because that's what they do. It's unfortunate, but that's the system. And with that, my presentation for today is pretty much done. Do we have any questions? I don't see anything in the chat. I'm looking now.
Connections real bad.
Who?
Connections real bad today. People are getting kicked.
Oh, connections are bad today. Oh, yeah, that's Florida internet for you. You have to get some Starlink soon. Yeah, at the rate we're going, right? Guys, I hope that you learned something from this. I'm gonna do a poll in the chat on the actual page, and it's gonna be whether or not we stay here on Facebook or start migrating to the stronger platform, which is YouTube. They have more servers and stuff, from my understanding. They're made for this type of stuff. Facebook is more like quick socials. They're not really meant for long meetings like this. If you guys like that idea, we can do that. Yeah, there's that. In any case, you understand now how the system works, and you understand how it all funnels in together. It all comes together. You also learned now what laws they're breaking, how they're violating it, and where's the proof. I mean, even without me showing you documentation, all you got to do is read the report from the OIG. That says it all. That right there says it all. I think it was almost close to $1 billion, like 900 million, something like that. I don't know. I saw it real quick and I don't remember the exact number. I'm going to try to look it up. But yeah, that's a lot of money in grievances. That tells you right there, guys, they know they're breaking the policy and they don't care. Because again, they're playing with money that's not theirs. And then what happens is when they run out of money, Now they want the consumer to pick up the tab. The PMG already said it himself. Oh, if we don't get this started by 2027, we're going to have to go to the customers and they're going to have to fit the bill. I'm not paying for it. You do not have permission to take my tax money and pay them anything. Not a damn dime goes to you. Nope. And I suggest everyone in this room tell their family, tell their friends, to tell Congress, not a fucking penny for them. We gave enough of our money away. Yeah, job security, that's all it is for them. But I'm sitting at home, I have no job security. So I can care less about them. Nope. Because the fact that I followed the policy for almost 7 years, 8 years, and still got in trouble, that's crazy. They didn't care about my kids, so I don't care about none of theirs. Yep. That's your problem. Figure it out. Like I have to figure it out right now. There'll be a time where you have to figure it out too. Yep. And when they say, oh, we need the taxpayer. No. Not my money. Nope. Fuck out of here. Nope. I don't approve of that. So the answer is no. Of course, my opinion don't matter. It's just an opinion. They're going to do it anyway. But the fact of the matter is, I want them to know I don't agree with it. And I don't think none of you should either. Why should we bail them out? They're the ones making the mistakes. $1 billion in grievance money? I don't even have to talk about this no more. It's closed case. OIG investigated. They were found in arrears for all the money they paid out in grievances, which means they keep violating the policy and breaking federal law. So why are we going to give them more money? So they can keep doing what they're doing? No, I didn't get kicked out. Woohoo! Thank God.
You lucked out.
I lucked out. I was getting kicked out too. Look, if it's my own show, they're going to kick me out. Holy shit. Anyway, guys. Oh, God. I got to get Just for Men eventually. Ugh. You can see the white peeking through now. They quit the handouts, make them accountable. I agree. Let them pay. Make them pay, Dorothy. I agree. Let them pay. You know what? How about we fire some of them? They're not doing nothing. They're the ones breaking the policy. Get rid of them. If I can take the time from my day to look this stuff up, they can do the same thing. Come on. Come on. Ignorance, you heard the policy. Ignorance is not an excuse. Supervisors are responsible and accountable. So the fact that they don't know the freaking policy, that's because their own ignorance, not mine. Because if I could look it up, they could too. Just saying. Anyway, that's your Postal Truth for this evening. My name is Angel once again. Thank you all for taking the time out of your busy day to spend time with me and to hear me preach and teach and share whatever little knowledge I have. I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this for. I feel like it's helping a couple people, but it's not doing what I was hoping it'd do. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep doing this long term or not. We'll see what happens. Those are my feelings. If you guys feel differently, please let me know in the comment section below. Be safe, and we'll see you on Sunday.